Guys, we have incredible news. Young Avengers movie, or Champions, or whatever it's going to be, is pretty much, I'm going to say 100% guaranteed confirmed. And I'm going to say this because of a cameo on a cruise ship. Now, I'm sure you've seen posts about this, or maybe even full videos about what this means for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't think it's any secret that the MCU has wanted to make some sort of Young Avengers, Champions, whatever it is. For reference, the Young Avengers was created in the early 2000s as a follow-up to Avengers Disassembled, where a team of kids that had superpowers all showed up, and they were all kind of versions of the Avengers, like Hulkling, Wiccan, Iron Lad, Patriot, and then they got some others. Hawkeye, Kate Bishop comes from that book, and Stature, Cassie Lang comes from that book. The Champions is another book, I want to say from the 2010s. This one took kid heroes that already existed, so like Amadeus Cho Hulk, Viv Vision from the Vision series, Kamala Khan, Miles Morales, I'm forgetting somebody, and Sam Alexander Nova, and brought them together. So that was more of like a natural Avengers-ing. The Champions had a much bigger roster. Ironheart joined, one of the Wasps, and there was crossover because obviously they're the two kid groups. So like sometimes, I guess there's not a lot of crossover, but like, I guess there must be crossover. Well, Marvel Boy is a Young Avenger. He wasn't on the Champions. I think I would also say the Young Avengers are maybe college aged, and that's young compared to like, 50-year-old Iron Man and whatever. Whereas the Champions are teenaged, so that's really the big difference. Both of these books have a lot of trouble continuing, just because, like, even though there have been very good runs of both, neither of them have become what I think Marvel wants, which is them to be like the Teen Titans of Marvel Comics. And I think it could do that, but it hasn't. And that's why there's no obvious name for this movie. It's because it's like, do you call it Young Avengers? Do you call it Champions? Like, I don't know, whichever one you want. You put some of the guys from one team on, some of the guys from the other team, focus group, figure it out. But anyway, so it's been obvious that they're going to make this movie because they keep introducing characters. So many characters. I've made a video, what are we going to do with all these Avengers babies? I also made a pitch for a Young Avengers movie that takes some of the ones that I like and push them all together. So like that, we'll talk about that. But I guess part of the problem is like, are they all available? Part of the problem is, who does it even make sense to put in? Because like soft spoilers for the Agatha show, if you haven't seen any social media or anything about it for the last, 2 months, Billy is around now, Wiccan, so like, does he join one of these teams? And I think the answer to that's probably yes, but we'll see. And then it's all about the schedule, right? We've got Thunderbolts, we've got Fantastic Four, we've got Doomsday, and we've got Secret Wars, like huge movies. And then presumably like a Spider-Man 4 is going to be in there. So it's like, where does this even go? Does it end up on Disney Plus? I'm sure they're figuring that out now. But like, besides that one scene at the end of The Marvels where Kamala Khan goes, hey, Kate Bishop, I have your name on a little like tablet, so let's team up. We haven't really gotten anything here. Like, there's been no cross-pollination, right? Wiccan doesn't go visit Ironheart at the end of Agatha all along. Ironheart has never met any of the rest of these guys. America Chavez, I would say, is the closest to like meeting some of them, because like Doctor Strange is connected to Wanda, and America Chavez, would kind of know about Billy. But like the new version of Billy has never met America Chavez. But then you got Cassie, who has been around for a while and was like one of the leads in Ant-Man 3, but she hasn't had any opportunities to meet these guys until the cruise ship. So Disney has done these for a little while. They've done it with Disney cruises forever. But the idea is these themed cruise ships, and they really go all in on the theme, and to the point where it's like you're going to Disney parks, where like there's all the characters around and like fancy food that you can only get there. And like, I've never done this because I hate cruise ships. I would never want to do this, even though this seems like a very well put together cruise ship and it seems nice. But as much as I love going to a big floating mall and getting norovirus or whatever, I avoid it when I can. Luckily, people have videotaped what are like little movies that you watch when you eat at these things, and they are surprisingly consequential. Like, they're not, because none of it is canon, but if it were, it would be like the most important thing that's happened in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the last 3 years. Because, okay, so there's two videos. One of them is the Young Avengers one we'll talk about, but first, the one that's been out for a couple of years, and I would say takes place, somewhere right post Blip, based on all the costumes, it's Ant-Man and the Wasp, in their pre-Quantumania costumes are making dinner, because they love to do this. And I think they do this at the Disney park too. Like your food can shrink and grow. So they're like, we're going to show you how to use the food shrinker grower. I'd say you could watch it because like people have recorded it and it's maybe 15 minutes long. It's not bad. Like it's not fun. I wouldn't say it's like as well written as like the best written Avengers movie, but like, I don't know. There's a part where Scott Lang is like, here's why I didn't go up Thanos' butt, and he gets cut off, but like that's cute. And he has good chemistry with, listen, I'm not gonna, this isn't a review of the movie they show you while you're eating on a cruise ship, but I will say, like, if you're expecting it to not be very good, it's better than I expected. But okay, so more consequential. So they're like messing around with the cruise ship, and they shrink and grow everything. They accidentally shrink and grow the cruise ship, and then something's happening. There's like a power surge or something, and there's all kinds of activity going on. And who shows up but Captain Falcon? He's called Captain Falcon by Ant-Man, and he brings, and it's not clear how he did this, Miss Marvel. So Kamala Khan is also there at this cruise ship. So right now at this point we have Captain America, Miss Marvel, Ant-Man, and the Wasp. It's not the last one. There's like at least one more person, but just like that, it's pretty significant. And they get all the real actors, and they're all doing good jobs and stuff. It's the only time outside of the very end of Captain America and the Winter Soldier so far that Sam has been in this costume, which is pretty bizarre. But then, and the video that I watched this on, because I just rewatched it, the person that's recording it even has this reaction, like Ultron shows up. He's the villain of the cruise ship. And by that I mean a bunch of Ultron drones that look just like the Ultron drones from Avengers 2 just fly in and fight the Avengers. And we get like full fight scenes where like Captain America is flying around, throwing the shield at him, and he turns around and Miss Marvel's punching him with a big purple fist. And like, there's a big fight scene there. So that is going on. And then they're like, we need some help out here. Wasp goes up. And again, Wasp helps these guys. And you get like fight scenes where they're back to back. These are characters that have never spent any time together. So this is interesting. And then real Ultron shows up, like the big shiny Ultron from the end of the movie. I believe this is the Ross Marquand voice. This is not James Spader for sure. But I think he's the voice actor who does a lot of these guys and is doing Ultron here, just based off of hearing it. And he fights Ant-Man and tries to eat the core of the ship or whatever. And then Carol Danvers shows up in her Captain Marvel 1 costume. I'm sure most of you listening to this are like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But like for big nerds like me, it's like, you would never, and people in the thing are reacting like, what? But for this big fight where her, Hope, and Sam fight the rest of the Ultron drones and just kill them all, Kamala is not there. So she comes back right as Carol has left. So this does not break the continuity, which is great. And there's even lines like Carol shows up and she's like, funny how you run into people on cruise ships. Very cavalier. Like that's how the Avengers talk, right? That's how those movies usually go. So that was pretty good. And that's kind of just a version of the line where Tony says, like, it's funny how you always run into people at the airport during Civil War. But anyway, Friday is in this too. Like the AI voice is there for all this. Ant-Man overloads the quantum whatever and kills Ultron. So that's the first video. Again, like if this was a thing that happened in the MCU, it's the most important thing that's happened in the last 3 years. 5 Avengers teamed up to fight Ultron. And yeah, it's just pretty funny to me that they did this. And like, yeah, the effects aren't amazing, but they're better than I expected. And then the new one. Okay, so this one is Rocket Raccoon and Groot. And this is like Guardians 2 Rocket and Groot, because Groot is baby Groot, because he is the most marketable of the Groots. And he makes a little machine because Rocket doesn't feel loved because they love Star-Lord instead of him on the little slideshow or whatever. So Groot, like, I don't know, trips the power breakers or something and everything is dark. And then it's back and it's like, oh, Rocket, we love you. It's that one is not as cool. But then at the end of that, for no reason, there's just like a clip of 3 young Avengers. So 3 characters that have never met before. America Chavez, Cassie Lang, Riri Williams. And they're all just sitting on like the deck by themselves, seemingly done with the battle. I'd say the vibe that I get from them is bored, because let's face it, it's a cruise ship, and even the cool cruise ships are still cruise ships. And America says the line, you guys want to play some shuffleboard? Then that's it. I think it's so funny how many articles I've seen about this, considering that's all it is. But like, it's still crazy to me that they get the 3 actors from these movies and shows and put them in this thing together. And that is the first time we've ever seen any Young Avengers outside of Hawkeye and Miss Marvel, who are not in this, but the only time we've ever seen any of them interact, and it's for this weird, very low-energy cruise ship thing. Like, I don't know, man. Kevin, I'm not in charge of the cruise ship movies, but if you want my advice on how to make them the best, have the characters on the cruise ship be enjoying the cruise ship, even if it's a cruise ship and it's something that they're not enjoying. Just pretend, have them act. Have them go, wow, I had a great time on this cruise ship. Let's go do shuffleboard. And they all go, yeah, and then they run away and do shuffleboard or something. I don't know. But they're just sitting around. It's very weird. I don't know. I'd like to believe that this is going to be required reading for the Avengers movie. Like, to understand Doomsday, you're going to have to get on the cruise ship. Part of me is like, are they filming something? How did they get these actors together? And then, because this doesn't read like the first thing where it's like, we got everybody together, we gave them a script, we got their costumes. This reads like everybody's sitting around after a shoot for something else, and they're like, you know what we could do? One of those little cruise ship things, interstitials for the cruise ship dinner. And yeah, but I don't know how this would work. I guess, like, if I'm being way too speculative and like optimistic about what this is, maybe they're like gonna show up in Ironheart or something. Maybe like America Chavez and Cassie come and recruit her. I don't know. I would say based on this and Miss Marvel and Agatha, I do think we have our Young Avengers though. Like, I think that's what it's gonna be. And first of all, I'm sure people are gonna be very upset because the 6 people that would be in this would be America Chavez, Cassie Lang, Stature, Riri Williams, Ironheart, Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, Kate Bishop Hawkeye, and Billy Kaplan Wiccan. So if that's true, that is 5 women and 1 man. So that means it's very woke. I'm not going to get into the fact that the man is gay, so that is even double, triple woke. And if this is the lineup, get ready for some videos like this, and then a million videos by angry guys about how the Young Avengers is too woke and stuff, who have never read a Young Avengers comic, have no idea who the champions are or the makeup of that team or why that is also quite woke. It's just, don't even bother. Like, I mean, listen, probably shouldn't watch those videos because I'm sure it's a big waste of time, but, they got to make money somehow, so that's what they're going to do. Anyway, I do think this is a good lineup for the team. This is pretty much the exact lineup I put in my Young Avengers pitch, minus Kid Loki, although I think there'd still be space for him. But, like, I do think these Young Avengers make the most sense as, like, characters with a connection to the Avengers, especially these three that we just met on the cruise ship, because you have a connection to Doctor Strange, a connection to Ant-Man, and a connection to Black Panther. 3 very important Avengers, and like guaranteed on first ballot Avengers for this new roster. And then you've got connection to Captain Marvel and a connection to Hawkeye. Then you've got Wiccan, who's very popular. Like, I think if they can pull this off, this movie would have like a surprising amount of star power, specifically like Haley Steinfeld and Joe Locke. I think would get people really excited. Beyond that, like, I think the other people in it are good, but those 2 are like pretty popular. To say nothing about Iman Vellani, who I think is doing an incredible job with this, but like, I would say those people bring in their own fan bases from other stuff. I don't know, especially after seeing the Thunderbolts trailer, the idea of more team-ups that aren't the Avengers, I think feels more palatable. The fact that Thunderbolts is like my most anticipated movie of next year, basically, that I guess I've seen a trailer for, but like, still, the fact that Thunderbolts right now is higher on my list than Captain America is pretty surprising, considering that lineup. But just like looking at that trailer, I'm like, oh yeah, this could work. I think the same thing is true of Young Avengers. So, yeah, I'd be pretty excited for it. I have a pitch for how it could be done, including those exact characters that would, make a lot of sense and be fun and be like nothing else Marvel has done so far. So, I can't help but recommend that video. But, besides that, I'm curious to see how this plays out. I don't think we're going to get another Young Avenger. Maybe Cap 4 will have Eli Bradley, although who knows? This thing, Cap 4 feels like it's been rewritten a lot, so maybe he got cut out of it. We'll see. I'm sure he'll be in it. Will he get like the super soldier serum? I don't know. So I guess the next Young Avengers thing is Ironheart, which is coming out sometime in the middle of the year. So, we'll see. And I hope they make this. I hope they do it before all the actors are 40. But as someone who has just watched Wicked, you could just pretend people are 20. And as long as the movie's good, nobody cares. So, it could work. So That's all I got. Stay safe. I'll see you guys next time.